One young mother was very protective of her firstborn son. Dropping him off at preschool for the first time was one of the hardest things she ever had to do. The young mother was so protective that for several years she would not allow her son to ride the school bus. Eventually, her husband suggested that it was time for their son to get on the bus. The mother wasn't too happy about it, but she was beginning to realize that her son was growing up and she needed to give him some freedom. The big day finally arrived. The boy couldn't wait to get on the bus with the other kids in the neighborhood. The mother reluctantly waited inside the house, but every once in a while she would peek through the curtain of the window just to make sure that her little boy was okay as he waited for the bus. Of course, the boy was okay. He is now in college, hundreds of miles away from home. The boy is doing just fine, and so is his mother. Jesus had been with his disciples for a good amount of time. He had done so much with them, the miracles, the teachings, the conversations. Jesus may have been somewhat protective of his disciples, but eventually he began to send them out into the world to preach, to heal, and to expel demons. Once they returned, they would sit down with Jesus to share their experiences and to tell their stories. One day, Jesus had a rather serious conversation with his disciples. In a little while, I will no longer be with you. I will have to leave, and you will be on your own. As he spoke, Jesus saw their frightened faces, so he continued, "Don't panic. I will not leave you completely alone. Another advocate will be given to you, the Holy Spirit. The Spirit of truth will help you do all that I did, and even greater things. So do not be afraid." We know the rest of the story, don't we? Over 2,000 years later, the church is alive and well because those disciples, empowered by the Holy Spirit, went out to all the world to preach the gospel. My sisters and brothers, as you know, we are living in a very difficult and challenging time. The coronavirus has affected our lives in ways that we could never have imagined just a few months ago. Many of you know someone who has or had COVID-19. You may know someone who has died from the virus. You may know someone who has been laid off from work. Because of this pandemic, we are isolated from one another. We are all anxious, frustrated, afraid, depressed, lonely. The other day, things were beginning to get to me. Even though I had gotten a good night's rest, I woke up feeling physically and mentally exhausted. I had my breakfast and said my prayers, but I still felt completely drained. As the day continued, I felt worse. So I knew that I needed to pray again. But this time, instead of getting out my prayer book, I simply asked the Holy Spirit to help me. That's all I said. For the next 20 minutes or so, I sat quietly, allowing the Holy Spirit to help me. And during that time, the image of Jesus, the Good Shepherd, came to my mind. I kept thinking of Jesus guiding me out of the dark space that I was in. I have to say that spending that time in prayer gave me so much comfort and so much peace. I know I had such a powerful experience because I had asked the Holy Spirit for help. And so I would like to encourage you to do the same. Sometime today, take 15 minutes or so to pray. But don't take out your prayer book or your rosary. Just sit quietly and ask the Holy Spirit to come into your heart. Allow the Holy Spirit to take control, to minister to you, to help you in whatever way you need it the most. The very same words Jesus spoke to his disciples are also meant for us. I will not leave you orphans. Another advocate will be given to you, the Spirit of truth. My friends, now more than ever, we all need the help of the Holy Spirit to guide us through these difficult times. Don't hesitate to ask for the help of the Holy Spirit.